Hi there, and thanks so much for booking my gig. I really appreciate it. Here's a quick overview of what to expect from this audit. So we'll start by reviewing your website's UI and UX. That means the overall layout, visual design, and how smooth the experience is for your visitors. And we'll do that on both desktop and mobile devices. After that, I'll run a brief SEO audit to spot any opportunities for improvement, and we'll wrap up with a performance and speed test to ensure your site runs efficiently. Right, so let's dive right in. You mentioned that you have a majority of desktop traffic on your website, so I think we'll start here on the desktop version first, and later on we'll also have a look at the mobile version as well. It's quite unusual, I would say, to have 90+% of desktop traffic for an e-commerce website these days. Usually, I would see most e-commerce websites would have 80+% of mobile traffic. So you also mentioned that you have mainly SEO traffic. So to grow your mobile traffic, of course, the easiest way would be to just get some social media traffic going, especially through social media ads. So, most people would use social media on their smartphones, on their mobile devices. So, for example, if you had Instagram ads, that would certainly send 90+% of mobile traffic to your website. But even if you get a majority of SEO traffic, I would still kind of expect 70% or so of mobile traffic. So you should maybe double check your tracking as well if everything is set up correctly, because that sounds very unusual to me. But we'll just get started here on the homepage, here on the desktop version. Then we'll sort of work our way through the category pages, product pages, and the checkout process. So the first thing that I noticed here on the homepage is, of course, this pop-up, which pretty much opened straight away when I came to the website. So it says unlock 15% off and your first order. And then we have kind of this input field here, first name, email, and continue. So a couple of things here. I think pop-ups can work extremely well if we get the timing right. In that case, if you open that pop-up right in the beginning when the user lands on your website, there's a very good chance most people will just close that pop-up straight away, because they first want to get a better understanding of your brand, of your products, and if they're even interested. So if we open that pop-up too early, most people just want to get it out of the way. They close the pop-up. That will usually set a cookie in the user's browser, which also means that pop-up probably doesn't open anymore, at least for that same user, for that same session again. So the timing is very important. I will probably open that pop-up after the user scrolled 50% of the page, or they spend a certain amount of time on your site, and there is an actual interest there for your product and also kind of an understanding of your brand. And then you will have much higher chances of actually getting that email address. I think it's good that you're being very specific about what people are getting in exchange for the email address. Just the design of this pop-up looks very out of place compared to the rest of your website. So starting with the typography, we have a completely different typography here for the pop-up. The colors seem to be different, and just the overall look and feel of that pop-up. So it feels more like a third-party widget or something like that. And I would highly recommend to actually theme that pop-up in your style as well, using your color scheme. And also, we currently only have a background graphic here for this pop-up, which also seems maybe a little bit random. We just have this sort of rainforest theme in the background. And here, of course, I would just keep it simple, maybe even have just a solid background color, but then also add a graphic with one of your products in there as well. So just that's that about the pop-up. And let me now scroll down here on your homepage to kind of get a feel for the different sections and elements we have here on the homepage, and see what that looks like. And we've pretty much reached the footer down here. So we'll scroll back up and kind of start from the top. So my first impression of your homepage, of your website, is a bit mixed. I think the overall layout looks fairly good. one thing I noticed is the images that you're using. We have a lot of sort of pixelation in some of these images where the resolution doesn't seem to be high enough. Here, for example, for the why the Tallow works or why Tallow works section, we can see a lot of sort of pixelation here. But yeah, we'll just start from the top and sort of work our way down. Now, your homepage is a very important page. Of course, it will be for a lot of people kind of like the entry point to your website, but you might, of course, also get traffic to product pages. But still, even if someone initially lands on a product page, there's still a good chance they might sooner or later end up on the homepage as well if they click on your logo, for example. And on the homepage, we have this hero section here at the very top. In your case, we have a hero slider here. And that will often be the first kind of handshake or introduction to your brand. So currently we have a full width background image here. And we have some copy overlaid: skincare, so clean you can eat it. And we have a subheadline here: ingredients you recognize, results you can see. And we have two call to action buttons here: shop all and learn more. Let me just refresh the page to see how fast that slider actually plays. And I think the speed is fairly good for the slider, so I can read most of these elements. And you also have to take into account the time the user needs to make a decision whether to click on an element or not. I think sliders in general are maybe a little bit outdated. I think it's usually better to have a static hero section and then actually, do some A/B testing as well, where you would just work on that copy on that, on that one slide, basically. So I think your current copy looks okay. Maybe it's a little bit generic. Maybe it could be a little bit more detailed or highlight your main value proposition a little bit more efficiently. I would always, recommend to work with a professional copywriter on this that truly knows your target audience. And then also doing some A/B testing where you would show, two variations of your hero section copy. You would show variation A to, let's say, half of the traffic that comes to your homepage. You do the same for variation B, and then you measure your CTR, your click-through rate, on your primary call to action button. And then sort of based on that CTR, you would pick a winner and then rinse and repeat and further optimize your winner copy. And I will include also a couple of examples in my CRO report. Full disclosure, this is AI-generated content based on your existing website content, but I do think it can sort of give you a good starting point. So to give you one example here, for the H1 headline, you could say non-toxic tallow skincare trusted by hundreds of families. Then we have a subheadline here: join the customers who made the switch to edible grade skincare and never looked back. Our grass-fed tallow formulas deliver deep hydration, rebuild your skin barrier, and smell so good you will want to taste them. And we have a CTA here: shop bestsellers. And in this variation, we would sort of lead with that social proof as well, trusted by hundreds of families. So this is, would be a good variation here, I think, for the hero section. I think the layout looks fine. I think it's a little bit unfortunate that we're sort of overlaying this background image here where you have all of your products. So it would be nice, if you could come up with a layout where the text sort of has its place and then your products also. So you could, for example, think about using a 2-column layout where you have a more subtle background. For example, currently the background image is kind of this beach setting and your products sort of sitting in the sand. But what you could do is that you actually, for the main background image, you only actually use the beach background, so the sand in the background. Then you place all of your copy in the left column, for example, and then you also have your call to action buttons here on the left, and then in the right column you actually overlay your products over the beach, and the product image in the right column would sit on a transparent background. So it would still kind of look like as if these products would sit in the sand, but then we would have a very clear focus on the actual product image, and we wouldn't kind of overlay it with our text here. The image doesn't really seem to be optimized for any mobile or desktop device. So on the desktop version, it's sort of cut off up here and also at the bottom. And I think it would be good, if these products would be fully visible. Maybe we wouldn't have to show all of the products. Maybe 2 or 3 products would be enough for this hero section. One thing I noticed here is that we have this lemony kind of color here for the main call to action button. I'm not really sure where that color is coming from. It's not like an accent color from your logo, for example, and I don't think I've seen it anywhere else. So I think you have to be careful what colors you use, so you have a sort of consistent and cohesive color scheme throughout the website. So usually you would pick 1 or 2 accent colors. Often these will, for example, come from your logo design, which is currently purple, and then it would just look more consistent overall. But you could also pick a color that is maybe, let's say, a complementary color to your main accent color from your logo, for example. So something that, kind of makes sense. So just be careful that you're not being too colorful here. And then usually it's best to have just 1 call to action button, unless you definitely, unless you really need a second call to action button. Here in that case, I think shop all or something like that would be plenty. Here currently we have a secondary call to action button, which is a ghost button, learn more. So we only have the outline of the button, but it's also barely visible. And I think it's just cleaner if you just have 1 CTA. And that's pretty much all I have to say here about the hero section. Let's talk a bit about the logo and menu bar since we're here. So I think the logo looks great. The size is good. Wouldn't really change anything here. Here you decided to go with a centered logo, which I think in your case looks pretty good because you also have kind of a circular logo here. And I think it looks good centered. However, we have our entire navigation here on the left. I think usually it's better if you have a centered logo, if you split the navigation equally to the left and right of your logo design. I think it just looks a bit more focused, but that's the only thing here. Then we have shop, special offers, happy customers, skin, nutrition, journal, about, and contact. I think you have everything there really that you need. If we hover here over shop, we get a mega menu here with some additional categories on the left and then some images for the main categories here. Here, of course, the obvious thing is that the bestsellers category background image here for this category card in the mega menu is a placeholder image. So that, of course, immediately kind of looks a bit unprofessional and it will erode trust because I feel like, there's something missing there. Also here for the Tallow Balms category image, we can see that you're using a different aspect ratio here and we end up with this uneven design. So make sure, to fix that and that you have the same image size for all of these category cards here in the mega menu. And that's also the only mega menu that we have. So I think it looks good layout wise. Just make sure to fix these minor issues. Then we have this top or announcement bar here. This week, SPF 30 Beef Tallow Sunscreen, $19.99 was $24.99. And then we have free shipping. Free shipping from $29.99. So I think that's good. Maybe it's a little bit wordy, I would say. I would try and keep it fairly short in the top or announcement bar, especially on the mobile version. This would be way too long. So, but we'll see how that translates to mobile later on. For the top or announcement bar here, again, I'm not entirely sure where that color is coming from. We have this very sort of light turquoisey grayish blue up there, and I would probably try and use a color that comes from your logo, or even a more neutral color. So yeah. Also, you could, of course, link this to the corresponding product, to the SPF 30 Beef Tallow Sunscreen. So And that's pretty much it here for the header section. Now, looking at the section underneath the hero section, we have trust elements here. So edible ingredients, non-toxic, all natural and proven results. And I think it's great that you have that directly underneath the hero section. However, here we can see that this is actually sitting below or on the fold here. So I actually have to actively scroll down to see these trust elements. And I think it would be super important that these are visible by default above the fold. So if I come to your homepage here without me scrolling down, I should already kind of see these trust elements here, because that can reduce your drop-off rate, and that can make the difference between someone, coming to your website. Maybe the hero section doesn't quite convince them and they will drop off within seconds of coming to your website, and someone that already kind of sees these trust elements down here, which gives additional context here, non-toxic, edible ingredients. So, and we managed to establish a little bit of trust and confidence very early on in the user journey. That user maybe decides to stay a little bit longer, explore further, and some of these will also become customers. So to achieve that, I would probably slightly decrease the hero height. You can't really, make it much shorter, but maybe just slightly decrease the hero height here a little bit. And then also decreasing the top and bottom padding of this trust element section. So basically, you would reduce some of this spacing here, top and bottom padding, and you would also, slightly decrease the hero. And that way, you would push all of these trust elements above the fold. They would be fully visible, kind of like this, and that would be amazing to have these there. But I think it's great that the location, the style, and everything looks pretty good. Just, where they sit could be improved. And you could also think about using, instead of this sort of top-down design, currently we have basically the icon sitting at the top, then we have a headline, and then we have a subheadline. You could use a different layout where you have the icon on the left, and then the headline, and then the subheadline. That way you would also use up much less vertical spacing, again, helping to push this above the fold. Next, we have this almost like a little about section here. Eat my face, edible skincare crafted from grass-fed tallow. And we have a little bit of text here. Now, all of this is center text, and we actually have like a little paragraph here. Couple of things here. So I think center text is great for, headlines, short subheadlines, but as soon as you have an actual paragraph, the readability really goes down if you have center text, because our eyes have to sort of readjust with every line and find the beginning of the line, which will decrease readability, and a lot of people would just skip sections like this. So I would rather go for a left-aligned layout here. I also noticed that the formatting seems to be slightly off. That period here, for example, should sit in the previous line here, so just make sure to fix that. Small details like that can also erode trust. And I think it would be nice to actually combine that with a photo of the founder, or, some behind the scenes footage where I can maybe see how you produce these products. And this could be a 2-column layout. So for example, you could place your text here on the left, and then, add kind of an image to the right, for example. So just to make this even more personal, I think that would be great. Then we'll scroll down here. We have bestsellers, and here we have our product cards. And I think overall, these look pretty good, look very appealing. However, that is mainly due to the, to the product images. So they look very good. An issue that I see here is, again, the aspect ratio of the product images. So here we have product cards, but these are all sort of varying sizes. Here it seems like we have a landscape product image, and the product image looks much smaller than the other ones. So I think it would be super important that you try and stay consistent there. It will just look much more professional overall. Here, I have to say that this green that you're using here for the safe 16%, sort of this badge here, I think that is much more suitable than the colors that we see up here. So I would probably also think about using a green maybe as one of your accent colors. Looking at the product cards here, maybe the only thing that is currently missing is maybe a star rating for these products. So in between the product title and the price, you could, for example, add a golden or yellow star rating for that product. Shop by category. And here we have this why Tallow works section that we talked about earlier here. Definitely some pixelation in the image. To me, at least, it looks very kind of AI generated. Not everyone will notice that, but I think that image could be improved, not only in terms of the resolution, but also in terms of how this looks. Apart from that, I think it's good. It seems a little bit random here that we have this shop by category headline here and then the why Tallow works section underneath. It almost feels like, this why Tallow works section was just sort of pushed in between this headline and the actual category overview. So that is a problem. Underneath the shop by category, I would expect kind of category cards. I think that would make more sense. Down here, we actually have kind of one category, sun protection and recovery, and we have the different products here. And I think that looks fine apart from everything we talked about earlier regarding these product cards. Down here, we also have kind of a featured product here, or featured category, mineral sun protection. And then down here, we actually have some category cards in a 4-column layout. So this is kind of what I would expect underneath the shop by category headline. Here, of course, we can also see that the sun care category card still has the default placeholder background image here. And of course, that again could lead to trust erosion. For some of these category cards, the contrast is not great for the text that you overlay here. Natural soaps, for example, the contrast is not great, so the readability goes down of that text. Tallow moisturizers, same thing. I would probably add a slight gradient to the bottom of this card, so you can make it darker down here. Then it sort of fades out towards maybe a third of the image height. The gradient will have faded out completely, and we can actually see the image in the background. Then we have a slider here, want to try multiple products, shop, bundles, and save. This kind of image that you have in this kind of auto slider here also looks, just to me, like a placeholder image, because it has nothing to do with your product. So we have a t-shirt illustration here that has nothing to do with your natural kind of cosmetics here. Then down here we have a reviews slider. And I think, that social proof is super important. And I think it looks fairly good. I think we could probably show more reviews by default on the desktop version. Currently, we only show 3, and then this is kind of a slider, but you could easily show 4 reviews here, 5 reviews, and I think that would be better. We do have the product that person purchased, and we have the name of the individual, and yeah, I think these look pretty good. Then down here we have our edible skincare philosophy, and we have an image here. I think that looks fine. And I would probably, also link to a dedicated about page as well for further reading. And I think it's super important to try and humanize your brand. So make it much more personal, more relatable. I would probably even include like an image of the founder, of the team behind it, maybe even a video that shows you in the production process, for example. I think that is super important nowadays because we have so many, kind of anonymous drop shipping websites, and I think we need to humanize our brand, and people will be able to establish a more personal relationship with you through a good about page, for example. So maybe that image looks pretty good. to me, it also looks very AI generated, but it looks good. But it would be even better to have a team photo there. Why you should be using Tallow SPF, and then we have some videos here, which is user generated content, I think. So this looks almost like some TikTok videos or Instagram videos. Here, I don't really have any audio, and yeah, these are very short kind of clips here. I suppose I can click that play button here, but yeah, it would be great if you had actual UGC content here. So I think that could be improved. I would probably almost have like the review slider that you had above, actually have some videos in kind of a portrait format, so kind of almost like a mobile format. You would have the first video in front, and then this could almost be sort of stacked. So we could have another video here to the right, we could have another video here to the left, and this would almost look like a carousel. So you would have the main video here that is playing, and I could sort of flip through these different videos of people hopefully endorsing or reviewing your products. And I think that can almost be like that social proof on steroids. So super important to have a good UGC section these days. Then we have some information here. Basically, these are blog articles. Make sure to add a headline here so I know what I'm looking at. It's not completely obvious that these are blog articles, but it should be. So people are not, really reading websites. They're pretty much scanning websites. So they will go via website fairly fast, kind of like this, and they will just scan with their eyes for clear and descriptive headlines, keywords, topics, or anchor points that feel relevant to them. And once they found what they're looking for, they will then sort of switch into a reading mode and actually process the information within that section. So, and that's why it's super important to have clear and descriptive headlines for all of your sections, because otherwise people might just skip entire sections like this. Then we have some additional trust elements fairly far down here, just above the footer basically. And if you install something like Hotjar or Microsoft Clarity, you will see that only around maybe 25% or so of people will ever reach this footer section here. So I think it's super important that we place most of these trust elements and even the social proof relatively high up on the homepage. And then down here, we also have this skin nutrition journal that we also saw in the main navigation. And that here, it's much more obvious that these are blog posts. And yeah, that looks pretty good. Then we have another newsletter sign up here. You're being very vague about what people are actually getting in exchange for the email address. So here it just says sign up for our newsletter. And I think, that could be improved. Similar to the pop-up, you would probably want to offer them something very specific in exchange for the email address. Down here, we have the footer. We have all of the social media channels linked here. Once more, newsletter sign up, and some of the main menu links here. And all of that looks fine. Maybe apart from the background color. Again, I feel like this entire color scheme looks a bit out of place. So that is just something to think about in general. And I think apart from that, you have pretty much everything here that you need on the homepage. It's just a matter of maybe fixing some of these issues, and definitely try and make this more personal as well. I think that would be great. So our next step would be to go to the Tallow Balms page here and see what that looks like. So this is our category page. And we are here on the all-day non-toxic skin moisturizer deep hydration tallow balm category page, and we can see here that we don't actually have a headline for this category page, which could become an issue also in terms of SEO, because it seems like we don't actually have an H1 headline here, which would usually tell Google and other search engines what this particular page is about. I think here the actual description text here for that category also looks a bit all over the place, but that could also be due to the missing headline here. So make sure that we have an actual headline here. Then we have our products. We have 4 products here in this category. So of course, the more products you have in a category, the more important becomes to have a good filtering and sorting system. Here, of course, if we only have 4 products, that's fine. So we'll just maybe have a look at one other category here, which is the sun protection category here. And here we actually have a category headline here. However, here it says the internet's safest sunscreen, which is great. However, I think for that headline, you should have, it should sort of reflect the category title here. So sun protection and recovery. And in the best case scenario, you would probably also just have a very descriptive headline here for this category, also mainly for SEO purposes. So you probably want to say something like, tallow-based sun protection and recovery. So Google knows what this category page is all about, and you would hopefully also rank for some of these keywords here. The background header graphic here for this category page looks fairly pixelated to me. So we have this sort of underwater image here. Looks fairly low resolution, and also these products here, I'll probably remove them here as well, because we have this dark overlay. It just looks a bit all over the place. I would, maybe even choose a slightly more minimalist background image there for the category page, then maybe even slightly reduce the height of this category header section there. Then we have some banners here: beef tallow and zinc oxide sunscreen, travel sunscreen lotion, kind of almost like a feature product, and then want to try multiple products. And we have this banner here, and we have different bundles. That is fine. Maybe I would probably just place both of these sections in a 2-column layout. So on the left, you could say want to try multiple products, and then on the right, you have your featured beef tallow zinc oxide sunscreen there. So just, try and, free up some of the space and use a more efficient and compact layout maybe. Then we have a couple of products here. Again, we have no kind of filtering or sorting options. Not that important at the moment, but should be implemented in the future. Here, these product image cards. Everything applies here as well regarding the aspect ratio and so on, but we'll just move on here to the actual product page. So we are here on the beef tallow sunscreen SPF 30 reef safe product page. On the left, in this 2-column layout, we have our product images, and then on the right, we have our product information. So just looking here at the product images, the first kind of default image here is this tin of the product. The second image, we also have the tin back and front. And then the third image, we can see the tin with the actual tallow in it. I think, to me, they look very much like mock-ups, like 3D renders or even AI images, which is okay, but I think especially the third image where we can see the sunscreen, this looks doesn't look very real. So I think that could be improved. I just think if it looks more real, I'm more likely to trust your brand as well. And I think apart from that, I would also use an image like that where we can see the tin and the product itself as the default image, because I think it's super important that we see the product as well. I also noticed that we have all of these images sort of stacked here on the left, and the right column is a sticky column. So it will just sit there basically until I scroll through all of the different product images. And I think that is not a great layout, because that way I have to scroll through all of these product images, and there are a couple of them here, to even reach the reviews, to go to the FAQ section below. And I think usually it's a better idea to actually have a more kind of common, layout where you have one product image here, and then underneath that you actually have your kind of thumbnails. You have your product image gallery sitting underneath, and then I can sort of skip through the different images and also have some controls here. I think that way you just have a more compact layout, and we get to the actual reviews and so on a little bit faster. Apart from that, I think the product images look fairly, professional. They look good. Some of them kind of have this AI glow to them, I would say, but they look fairly good overall. Just the resolution for some of these images isn't great. So again, these images a little bit further down here, we can see some pixelation, and I'm also wondering, like we seem to have this up here, seems to be the actual product that I'm looking at, the sunscreen here. But as we scroll down, then we get one product image here with like multiple different tints or tint products here. And then as we scroll down further, we get a completely different product, which is the Tallow moisturizer. So that could be a little bit confusing. Really focus only on that particular product here on this product page. Looking at the right column, we have our breadcrumbs here, so we see where we are on the website, and that confuses me even a little bit more, because here it says home, then the next sort of category is the Tallow-based SPF sunscreen and after sun balm duo. That is the category, and then we have that subcategory here, beef tallow sunscreen SPF 30 reef safe, which is the actual product that I'm looking at. So it seems like the parent category of this product is the duo category here, the tallow and after sun balm duo, and that main parent category should probably be that sun protection and recovery instead. So otherwise it can get confusing, especially if we have these additional product images in there that are not related to this product. So this can just get confusing and lead to trust erosion as well. Then we have our product title here. We have the price, we have our star ratings, we have the add to cart button, then we have a cross-sell here, or maybe even an upsell. And I think that is a problem, because you're not actually like recommending, let's say, a cross-sell, like something that maybe goes well together with that product here, but you're actually recommending an alternative to the product that I'm looking at already. So currently, we're looking at the Beef Tallow SPF 30, and you're recommending down here the Beef Tallow Reef Safe Sunscreen SPF 30, but in kind of a different format here. So this is a different packaging for sensitive skin, non-nano zinc. So I feel like I probably wouldn't buy both of these products. I would probably only buy one of those. And that is a problem, because that can lead to decision paralysis, where I'm not sure anymore, is that actually the right product, or is that the right product? I might click on this product, and in the end, I might not, I might end up not buying anything, because I'm kind of unsure at this stage. I would rather, recommend a product that is complementary to the product that I'm about to buy anyways, like, for example, the After Sun balm, or something that goes well together and is almost like an addition to this product. So I think that would be much better. One thing that I also noticed here is that here it says Beef Tallow Sunscreen SPF 30. When we look at the product image, it says Sunblock SPF 20. So again, we need to make sure that this product image actually matches the product title and information on this product page. Again, otherwise you're sort of risking trust erosion. Down here we have kind of a description of the product. So beef tallow sunscreen and so on is clean mineral sun protection that feels like skincare and so on. Then why we made this, what is a non-nano zinc oxide, why you love it, and then we have some vertical accordion tabs here with the ingredients, we have key benefits, and we have shipping and returns. Overall, looks pretty good. But I think we need to increase and maximize the scannability of that information. Currently, I have to scroll down here. I have to read through all of that to get a basic understanding of that product. I have to, click here on ingredients. I have to click on key benefits to understand that product and what makes it unique. We also have a complete absence of trust signals here near the Add to Cart button. So to maybe suggest a slightly different layout, we would have our product title. Underneath that, we would have our golden or yellow star rating, moving it from underneath the price to above the price. Then we have the price. Underneath the price, I think it would be helpful to have kind of a short description of that product. Just, maybe 2 sentences about that product. Underneath that, I would probably recommend to use a 2-column layout with check marks, highlighting the main product-specific features and benefits. And that would really help with the scannability. I could just take a glance at this section and I would understand what makes this product great. So underneath that, we would add our Add to Cart button and quantity picker. You could place both of these in the same line. So we have our quantity picker here. We have our Add to Cart button to the right. Underneath that Add to Cart button, I would use maybe a micro testimonial. So you could have a little star rating here with a short quote as well. Underneath that, we would add trust elements, trust badges in a 2-column layout, maybe with an icon to the left and some micro copy to the right. You do that for both of these columns and you would have 2 rows of 2 columns each, giving you 4 items overall. And we would try to address any concerns that the user might have regarding shipping, secure payments, easy returns, or high quality ingredients. So we would place these trust elements here, these trust badges, and underneath that we would add our payment logos. So we would show the different payment methods available. And then underneath that we would get to our accordion tabs, very similar to what you have there. The description tab would be opened by default, and then we would have maybe how to use or how to apply, and then maybe an ingredients tab and a shipping and returns tab, and then we would get to the actual reviews underneath. And I know that sometimes these, recommendations can be a little bit abstract or vague, so I decided to create a quick mock-up here for you just to show you what this, what this could look like, more in terms of the structure and layout, not necessarily in terms of the design or style. So here at the very top, we have the breadcrumbs here, in that case, much shorter: home, sunscreens, beef tallow. And we would, it just looks much cleaner, and it helps me also to understand the structure of the website as well. We have our product title here, we have the star rating, we have the price with a kind of in-stock badge here. As you can see, I'm also using your purple from your logo here, so I think it looks a lot more kind of cohesive overall, although I have to say that the green that you're using for your discount percentage badge for the product cards, as we've seen on the homepage, I think that could work even better than the purple here. Then underneath the price, we have the short description. We have a 2-column layout here with the main features and benefits. So reef safe, SPF 30, grass-fed tallow, sensitive skin, edible grade. These are our main features and benefits here. Then we have our quantity picker, our add to cart button. We have a micro testimonial here with a star rating sitting in a dashed border here. Then we have some trust badges underneath, free shipping, secure payments, hassle-free, and premium quality here. And we have our logos here. So I think that works much better to have all of these elements here. Currently, I think on your current product page, there's no trust badge inside anywhere. So the only kind of trust building element we have here is the star ratings. And I think that is a problem. And then down here, we have our tabbed content here, description, how to use ingredients, and shipping and returns. So I'm not saying this is now the perfect layout. Again, even in this mock-up, I didn't really change the how this product image looks in terms with the thumbnails underneath, but just to kind of show you the right column here that contains the main information, what type of structure or layout I would be suggesting here. So we'll head back to your page here and we'll just add this product to the cart and see what that looks like. And here we get our off-canvas cart. Now here again, regarding the color scheme, it looks a bit out of place. Up here we see the same kind of dark brownish green that we also see for the footer, but it doesn't really match the rest of the design, I think. And also, looking at your product packaging, which is very sort of bright and it really has some fresh colors in there, these types of colors don't really match your product packaging and then look and feel of your brand. So that is definitely something you should look into. Also for the checkout button here and also the add to cart button, it would be important to use an actual accent or signal color. So currently we just have a black button here and it doesn't really get a lot of attention. In the off-canvas cart, you can also add some trust badges underneath the checkout button as well. And usually the off-canvas cart is also a great place for cross-sells. So again, recommended products that go well together and are complementary to the product that I've added here already. And that's pretty much it here for the off-canvas cart. So we'll now head over here to the actual checkout page. And I can see a couple of things right away. First of all, this header image here looks very pixelated, would erode trust very much, especially at this crucial step here in the process. So I would maybe just remove the entire header image here on the Shopify checkout page. Also, we can barely see your logo here because it is a transparent logo. So the transparent background here for this logo file, and we don't have any contrast here for the logo. So I can basically, it looks a bit out of place. You need to kind of stay on brand here, and it needs to look like an actual part of your website. We can see here, for example, that you're still using the default Shopify checkout page color scheme. So we have this Shopify blue here, also for the Pay Now button. So make sure that you're using your exact color scheme on this checkout page here as well. So this feels, like a third-party website, and it's one of the most important steps here, the checkout page. And currently, this wouldn't feel very trustworthy or professional to me with the pixelated header image, the basically missing logo because it's hard to see it, and the default color scheme. So here, I think we can also do a lot. And I think that will get us to the About page. We'll just have a quick look here. We are creating a world where skincare is safe enough to eat. Then we have this image here, also resolution a problem. We'll scroll down here and we have some more information about the different ingredients. I think that is great. And that could even be, I think, its own dedicated page, just like an ingredients page where I can read more about the different benefits of beef tallow or MCT oil or something like that for the skin. Organic, edible grade ingredients, eco-friendly, all of that is great. Born in California, made in Oregon. If this product is made in the USA, I think that is one major trust element. So you could say made in the USA and put that all over your product pages. We can see that we basically read mostly about the ingredients and so on here on the About page, but there's barely any information about who you are. And this is, after all, the About page. It's not about the ingredients, it's about you as a brand, as a company, as an individual, as a team. And I think that is missing here. So this is really an ingredients page, which is also great to have, but it would be nice to have an actual About page where I can read more about you, your journey, your story. And I will be much more likely to be willing to support you if I can feel like I can connect with you or relate to you as well. Looking at the contact page here, get in touch with us. We have a contact form. We have an email address, which is linked. We don't have a phone number. We don't have a physical business address, which would also help to build trust. And of course, we have, for this big header image here, we have kind of the placeholder image in the background on the contact page. So this needs to be fixed. And I think that's pretty much it. Maybe have a quick look here at the journal page as well. Here we have the different blog articles. That looks fine. I'll go to the actual blog article here. Here you want to, if you're using these for SEO, and I just noticed here this headline. It says new description, SEO and sales, 200 plus words, focus, keyword density. I don't think that is meant for the reader. That I'm not sure. That almost feels more like a prompt to an AI maybe. But I was about to say, for SEO, this article is probably too short. You probably want to at least triple the length of an article like this to be useful for SEO. You want to include a table of contents, an FAQ section, and so on. And then if you're driving traffic to these blog posts, then you can also have a lead magnet in there, or kind of a a newsletter subscription as well. So you could, for example, have a short ebook guide or checklist that contains valuable information for your target audience. They would come to your website through blog articles, and then you could offer them that freebie, that free ebook, for example. They would download it in exchange for their email address. Then you could set up an automated email series, and you could promote to these people via email and sort of warm them up to your products as well. I'll just have a look here at another post here, and this looks much better in terms of the length. Here we also have issues with the resolution of these images. The header image here, very pixelated, and some of these images are also very AI heavy. So I think that that is a problem. That header image here, for example, for this one article, almost looks a bit scary. So I think you should probably look into these images and see what you can do. Yeah, and that's pretty much it here. So we'll now head back to the homepage, and we'll just have a look here at your website on a mobile device. We won't go over anything that we covered already on the desktop version. We'll just look at sort of mobile specific issues with the resizing, and everything else still applies and still holds true here. We'll just look for mobile specific issues. So here on the homepage, we have our hero section. The resizing works correctly. However, here the image for the first slide looks very pixelated. Looks actually I almost can't read the text on the product packaging because it's so pixelated. The size of the headline and the HTML elements here looks good. Here again, I would probably try and reduce the size so the truss elements move above the fold, we can see that these truss elements now sit in a horizontal slider, and these should sit in a 2-column layout on the mobile version instead. The logo size looks good. I would probably maybe scale it down just a notch. We will have a look here at the mobile navigation, shop, special offers, happy customers, and so on. That looks fine. We have this top announcement bar, which is a slider, which makes sense because the message is fairly long. That is okay. We'll scroll down here, and all of this pretty much resizes correctly. There's nothing wrong here except for the let me just double check that the product title in the product card is just too big. You need to reduce the font size quite a bit, and just make this smaller. Then we have, again, issues with the resolution, but mostly these sections resize correctly, so there's no major issue there in terms of the resizing. We'll just head over and go to the actual sunscreen category here, see what that looks like. And here we are. So this almost works a bit better here on mobile, I think. These top 3 sections, the header and the featured product and the bundle section here, almost look a bit better, although the bundle section looks very pixelated. Then we have our product cards here. We'll have a look here at the actual product page, see what that looks like. Here we have the thumbnail gallery underneath on the mobile version. So this is kind of what I'm suggesting for the desktop version. So I think this looks much better on the mobile version here. And then, overall, I would say this product page maybe works a little bit better on the mobile version, apart from everything we talked about earlier. So we'll just hit this add to cart button. We get our off canvas cart here. We can see one issue, and that is that your pop-up sticky widget, 15% off here, is kind of overlaying the checkout button partially. So make sure that any off canvas elements always sit in front of any sticky elements. So this 15% off sticky widget should not be visible if I open the off-canvas card. We won't go to the checkout page because that will just work across all devices. But the about page here looks fairly good in terms of the layout. Again, various issues here with the images. But resizing works fairly well, but everything else applies as well. So we'll now head over to the SEO audit to see what we can find there. Right, so here are the results of your on-site SEO audit. Here we have an SEO score of 86 out of 100, so that is a fairly good score. Here in the green zone, we crawled over 1,000 pages, and we'll just have a look at some of these technical on-site SEO issues. This won't, of course, tell us how well your website is optimized for a certain keyword. It will just tell us about kind of technical on-site SEO problems that might be hindering your SEO efforts. So here we have 6 pages returning a 4.4 response code, so page not found. Here, for example, we can see the reviews page here returns a 4.4 response code, and you're linking back to that page from 958 other pages. Now, I'm not sure where you're linking from, so I would assume that this is maybe somewhere in the navigation, although I checked the links, and these are not the actual, like none of these link to that page, but somewhere you have a link that links to that reviews page. And that, of course, if someone would actually click on that link, that would highly erode trust. So that is a big issue. Then we have some blog posts here that also return 4.4 response codes. So make sure to remove or update these links. Here we have 419 pages with duplicate page title tags. So make sure all of your title tags, meta descriptions, and H1 headlines are all unique for each page on your website. Here we have 749 pages where the title tag is too long, and we can see a lot of these are collection pages, blog posts, product pages. All of that is in there, and these should be shorter. Then we have 689 pages here with duplicate meta descriptions. So again, make sure all of these are unique. We have 76 pages here where the meta description is too long. And these seem to be also, collection pages and blog posts here. 764 pages here where the H1 tag is empty, including your homepage here. So that is unfortunate because, each page should have one H1 headline that sort of tells Google what that page is about. 728 pages with multiple H1 tags, including your homepage. Again, only one H1 tag per page on your website. Then we have 2 pages here containing images that are missing, that return a 404 response code here. For example, for this blog article, it appears like there's a broken image here somewhere on this page. Can't really see it here, but it's somewhere. Then we have 953 pages that contain images where the alt text is missing, and this could be an easy fix. Often this will always be the same file. For example, here we can see that your logo currently doesn't seem to have any alt text defined, and that appears on every page, and that could be the main issue here. We can see on most pages it's the logo file that's been flagged, but there are some other images as well. 133 pages where the image is potentially too big, which could slow down your website's performance as well. If we look at this image, for example, for the hero section here, this is just too big, and that could be an issue in terms of the performance. Then we have a couple of pages here, over 550 pages, where we have issues with the language tags on your pages. So this is if you have a multi-language version, which I think you have. You might actually have like a Spanish version here as well. So make sure to fix that as well. And that's pretty much it. Down there, we also have some more performance-related issues, but we'll have a look at that with a separate tool. And I'll send you a more detailed kind of separate PDF SEO report as well. And you will find all of this information, solutions, explanations, and so on in there as well. Let's head over here to Page Speed Insights by Google. So for the mobile version here, we have a performance score of 46 out of 100, so in the red zone here. For the first contentful paint, so the first text or image element to be rendered or painted on the screen took 2.6 seconds, and the largest contentful paint, so the largest text or image element to be rendered, took 9.9 seconds. And down here, we get some recommendations on how to improve loading times by reducing unused JavaScript and CSS, for example. So our goal here is really 90 plus on both mobile and desktop devices. And this can also have an implication on your rankings as well. And especially for Shopify websites, this seems a little bit slow. Shopify is usually very good when it comes to the performance. For the desktop version, we have 57 out of 100, so a little bit better than the mobile version. We have a first contentful paint of 0.6 seconds and the largest at 1.6 seconds. So much better result for the desktop version. Still, we're really aiming for 90 plus here and have a consistent 90 plus for both mobile and desktop devices. I didn't really notice any performance issues during my audit, but you might want to keep an eye on that as well. So we'll head back here and wrap this up. So yeah, I understand this is a lot of information to process, so take your time. Let me know what you think. I always try to provide an objective review of a website, and I hope it has been a little bit helpful to you. I will also send you all of this information in a slightly more structured manner in the form of my CRO report and a written task list, and you will find all of this information in there as well. So yeah, thanks again so much for ordering. Please let me know if you have any questions, and have a great day. Bye-bye.